Hallo und herzlich willkommen. Wir warten auf unsere Speaker, Michael J. Stewart, Begründer von Shantavira Yoga, und Christiana Charalambous, langjährige Yogalehrerin, Body-Mind-Centering-Lehrerin und engagierter Mitmensch. So, welcome everybody. Wir sehen Christiana. Gleich ist sie dabei. Michael kommt diesmal aus Übersee, aus der Karibik zu uns. Und wir hören, hi, welcome everybody. We're hearing the sound of the universe today, I see. Maybe it's coming from over the Caribbean.
It's the Bermuda Triangle.
The Bermuda Triangle.
As long as it's a triangle, we're in a good place because we need a triangulation for things to be in order. So,
wow. Next topic.
Exactly.
So, welcome everybody. Actually, instead of triangulation and what that all means, we will speak today about do you have back pain? About back pain and what to do about it, why to do anything about it, and so on. Let me introduce you again in English now. Shantavira Yoga founder Michael J. Stewart, Body Mind Centering yoga teacher and yoga teacher from Berlin and Germany-wide, Christiana Charalambous, Thomas Bessel, co-founder of YCBA and teacher trainer, and my humble self, Sharada Devi, co-founder of YCBA too. Okay, let's hop in directly. Do you have back pain? Do you have always back pain? What to do about it? Thomas, as you are sitting beside me, as often, what is your thought about, what would you say or think about someone who says he or she has back pain? Oh, yeah. Think rather than say.
I think at first we can say that's normal. That's not very special that somebody has back pain. So, and it's when I look to myself, it's also since a lot of years that I have back pain, and the point is, do you know something to handle that? So I think that's the key, and we have also to we have a look to what causes the pain. Is it a real damage, or what is it? And if you have no trauma with your back, so usually it's connected to your movement. And when I say movement, I mean also the non-movement. And in our society, it's very common to sit a lot and hang out a lot and be underdeveloped in all in the muscular structure. And that's the foundation to get in pain in your back. So it's really just the kind of normal to have a pain in the back.
I would like to directly pass, because we have already so many very interesting points. And Christiana, what do you say? What would you add?
I would add, yes, that's totally right. First, it's good to distinguish where, the answer would be for many people, yes, I have back pain frequently, or sometimes, or at least I had it. So then to look at it, where does it come from? If you, or maybe before, even if you decide to do something against it, which I hope, then to look where is the back pain developing from. And then, as Thomas already said, there are different possibilities. Mainly, I believe in our society would be from a very poor posture in non-moving and constantly pressure on the parts of the spinal structure, the bony structure, which is really unhealthy. But it could be also too much movement. It could be also like excessive movement. It could be overactive or super, super tight. So there are many possibilities. I think that's important to see. Where is your daily average movement or non-movement happening, and then to decide, and then see and decide what to do. If it's just a matter of the bony structure, because me as an anatomic lover, I would say, okay, once you get the structure of the bones fixed, I would say, or understandable, then lots of other structures will relieve into that. So for me, the structure, the architecture of the bones are very, very important. And then muscles and tendons and everything, ligaments else will follow. But of course, and then I would really like to pass this further on, maybe to Michael, because of course we also shall not forget that the structure is not only the bony structure. We have at least two more structures in that central idea, and we all know what it is, but maybe people don't know about it. So I could add one more, the tube, the gut tube, which is a very important connection between the mouth and the anus, and another concept idea from the yoga tradition, which is also important to look at once you go into the direction, how can I heal my back pain? I believe so. I pass that on.
Wow, that's a lot of very valid information from both of you guys. I would certainly add to that. I think repetitive movement, whether it be conscious or not.
Can you bring the volume a little bit up? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my best.
Yeah, way better, because
yeah.
it sounds like you are speaking from overseas, but without a micro. So
Okay, well, is this better or not better?
excellent.
It's so funny because I've got headphones on, but I have to be close to the device. All right, well, this might give me a back pain. What I was saying before I couldn't be heard is that I think one way for everyone who has a situation with back pain, and as Thomas and Christiana both pointed out, that it's not an infrequent situation. There are many people who encounter it at some point, and sometimes too much. I think a good way to identify is like, what do you do in your daily life? Because I would say with people who have a chronic situation, it's something you're doing repetitively, and it's become so much part of your life that you don't even recognize it anymore. So perhaps that would require somebody to observe you to see what is it that you do with frequency if you're a chronic back pain person. What I noticed, and this you guys know about my revelation or my observation, was all my years of traveling in and around Europe when I encountered a particular tightness of Northern Europeans, and I would say in the hamstring structure, which I also noticed then was leading to a lot of lumbar spine discomfort. And that just a repetitive movement of one kind. And all of you guys know this, it's riding a bicycle. If you're riding a bicycle, you're really over developing a certain part. This is Thomas's, he's gonna disagree because he's a bicycle rider, but okay, you can disagree all you like, brother. And you know bicycle riders, and I'm going to say this. I know a lot of bicycle riders who end up with a lot of low back issues. And it could be the posture they're taking. I would say it's overdevelopment on one side of the quadricep with a lot of compensating development on the hamstring and the gluteus. That's going to be my issue. So I'm going to say all you people in Northern Europe, watch how you're riding your bicycle and see what muscles are being active and see how that feels after a long bicycle ride on your low back. So I'm going to point to that. I'm going to point to certain kinds of activities that you might do since you were a kid and you don't even recognize it because it's so much part of your pattern. So I think a lot of things can be addressed by observing what you do in your day-to-day situation and things you've been doing for years. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Come on, give me the two hands up, Thomas.
Yeah, I disagree with some points really. One
Awesome.
one yeah, you can get some high five, but not in all. What I'm looking to is or looking at is the movement quality. So movement quality. And it's you can really do a lot, but it's the question of how you move. And I agree with you when the people are sitting a lot and then they sit on the bicycle, it's not the right counteraction for the day. It's better than non-movement, but it's also tricky because when you sit with the pelvis on something solid, so the triggers to stabilize the spine are not really working. And to get forward, I agree totally. It's a lot about the quadriceps. And for all people who are not so anatomically versed, so it means simple, your front side of your upper leg. That muscles, they have to work for a lot for the bicycling action. And other muscles, not so much. And it's still going on with that short in your hip flexors. And also the hamstrings don't get stretched. And when you have a look to cultures where workers in agriculture, and they're working a lot on the ground. And when they bend forward, bend over, so they have hours over hours a stretch for the hamstrings in their normal life, right? And when we have a specific look to this specific qualities, how they move over the daytime, then we can see, okay, that makes sense when they got in pain, but the bicyclists, so is it really a lot of bicycling what they are doing when you ride 1 hour a day on your bike? So that means not a lot. That means a little bit healthy movement in my opinion. So. But
I
because
think
of the short hamstrings, it starts in another daily action. So.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It's like, with any movement, it depends on how it's being done. I mean, that requires, this is why I'm saying observe what your daily pattern is, because if you have a chronic situation, it's not coming from something just happened. It's coming from something that is repetitively done. So when we're looking at the back, there's certain things that we know that people do all the time, and it's going back to point number 1 that both you and Christiana made, was incorrect posture, and mostly incorrect posture in the way people sit. It's like, because the majority of time people are sitting a lot, and if you're sitting in an improper way, like you said, if you're sitting way back and there's no support in the lumbar area, this is going to cause over time chronic discomfort, pain, suffering in that area. And again, that has to also come with the imbalance between what's happening in the front of the legs and the back of the legs. And now when we talk about the leg, we forget that the gluteus, which is your butt, your bottom, the back part of you, there's a lot of muscle in there. And you can notice very easily where there's mostly underdevelopment, and the underdevelopment on one side as opposed to overdevelopment on the other, which will come from certain activity like riding a bicycle if you don't balance it out, is the fact that you have overdeveloped quadriceps, the front of your thighs, and not enough development in the back side. So I'm going to say it's not strictly riding the bicycle, but if you don't do anything else and you only sit improperly and you ride the bicycle, that's going to exaggerate the situation. I'm going to stick to that point. So
Christiana, please.
Yeah, I agree, but I think we get super complicated and super detailed in anatomic parts of the body. Like we have the gluteus, we have the butt, we have the quadriceps. Like a person who doesn't know anything about all these muscular things, it's like, okay, wow, I have to study some anatomy to understand how to get rid of my stupid back pain. And I come back to the thing what I said in the very beginning. I think it's so simple and easy for every person who has no idea, and I really get on my chair immediately, who has no idea about any muscular situation in the body, is to start with a super basic thing. Where is the structure of my bones in my body? Before I even think of muscular pre and front and back and how can I move it with maybe bicycling and whatever doing, but how do I sit actually upright? And what is this thing on top of this head? How do I put it back here, there, what? And the rest is like following. That's the thing. This situation on top of that, I mean, you basically said it both, but isn't it the most simple thing to get rid of all the other stuff and just find this given wonderful structure of column thing on top of each other? It's like, wow, look at a spine, how beautiful it is. Just think of it, look at it, watch it, touch it, and then try to, once in a moment, 5 minutes, sit down and just close your eyes and embody it. Visualize it, and then maybe eventually, without even, I mean, if you have a good yoga teacher around, there's lots here on the screen, you can ask for further details. But to start, because you want to get rid of your pain, find a connection to this beautiful column. Just start there, and then, yes, absolutely, go into training, develop good and full with the intellect, each different parts at the same time and not overacting on one side. But I think the super basic situation is like finding your inner architecture. It's like it's like the bricks of your house. You don't build the roof first or the walls. You start with a structure. So that's the inherent structure you have God given. So take it, look at it, love it, embrace it, and then eventually everything else, maybe in time and with a good teacher, comes.
Yeah, that's what you are saying, because in our trainings, it's exactly that. We have the concept of spine first. But I've got a question, Christiana, because you said, okay, the bone structure and the spine, okay, that's really that thing, what we have to look at it. And then you said also before, the tube between the mouth and the anus. So this is no bone structure. Please explain me that connection.
Yes, I very well like. Thank you for taking back that question or that information. I believe that we are so rich in our bodies that we have more than just one structure to lift us up and get rid of back pain. We can first have to look at the spine and the bony structure, because that's the architecture and the base and the super beginning. And I say it again, once the bones know where they are, the muscles and the ligaments and the fascia, they will follow and they will understand how to relax, and the nerves. But coming back to the gut tube, because I'm an embryologist nerd, I know that we had a time in our life where we began with another structure, and that is the gut tube. So this is like in front of your spine, and it's also a part, and maybe some of us know that, a very healthy gut system is very much important for no lower back pain. So I know it's not a tube anymore. It used to be a long time. It's now many things, otherwise it couldn't be there. But it is a structure we can embody, we can think of, and it gives us another idea. And if you want to know more about that, you have to come to me, I tell you about it. It's very interesting. It's a support from the organ system on top of the support of the architecture. It's another gimmick, I would say, on top if you like to go further and releasing your back pain. Did I answer the question briefly?
Briefly, yes.
Yeah.
And
it's a support system. It can be supportive as well as understanding the spinal and the bony structure. But if you find the uplifting way of the whole intestinal internal organs, they can prevent you from back pain. They really, there are, and we know that from our breathing exercises and lots of stuff, we have a healthy open gut system, which is a tube or used to be one, will help you to get rid of back pain, or can help additionally. Sorry.
Yeah, there are really specific points where what can cause the back pain.
Exactly.
And when we are talking about the inner organs, so it's also interesting, what are the kidneys doing? So, and where does the pain basically come from? So,
yeah.
But for me, it's really interesting, your concept, because I'm in another concept in biomechanics. It's called form follows function. So, and then we are back to that, what you also said,
yeah.
the movement, or how we move. It is not random. It is really a specific, was sagt man denn, ein spezifischer Reiz. Was sagt man, how do you say that in English?
Trigger. It's a trigger.
A specific trigger for the system to adapt. And you can adapt in different directions.
Mm-hmm.
It can grow or it can decrease. So
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting.
I see. Michael, directly to this point.
No, what I was gonna say is that everything that both of you and all of us are saying is like, there's a lot of information here, and I don't know if anybody listening to us today is going to come away with some piece that's going to give them a support. I like what Christiana's saying about, like, sit up tall and, you know, keep your central channel, your spine. You know, a lot of people who have ill-developed muscles in the back body, in the back part of you. You try and get them to sit upright, and the first thing that they want to do is, after 5 minutes of it, they want to slouch, because they're like, oh, it hurts so much to try and sit up, because they don't have the support. So I like the idea that, you know, build the spine and then everything else will follow. I kind of think it's nice to be aware of the spine, but if you don't have the muscular structure, you can't really hold it upright. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that you can tell somebody sit up tall and feel that, but if you don't have that muscular support around it, it's kind of hard and very uncomfortable and not sustainable.
Absolutely, I totally agree. I do agree.
I think the idea is to have some regular activity, be very attentive to what that activity is, and how do you feel when you do something over a period of time. I think, you know, like becoming aware of what is causing something would be a starting point of how perhaps to get rid of it. So observing your daily activity, if you recognize, I wake up and I have back pain, okay, maybe you should notice how it is that you sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or if I at the end of my work day, I have a lot of back pain. Okay, well, observe how is it that you're placing yourself for 6, 7, 5 hours a day. If you're a sporty person, when I do this activity, I feel that, I think it comes to, like, observe how you are in what you do and how that reacts to you. I think is a really beginning point, and then they can go to somebody like Thomas, or you can go to somebody like Christiana, or you can come to somebody like me. But I think the work really has to begin with the individual going, what is it that when I do it gives me that condition?
Yeah.
People just wake up with it. Okay, well, how is it that you're sleeping? And, you know, there was a time, and Thomas and I have talked about this in the past, there was a time where I was waking up also with a lot of back pain, and I noticed I would sleep, and I'm going to point this out because some people like to sleep this way, sleeping on your front body with one leg straight and one leg bent. So you've got that hip and pelvis area. That's the area, the down here where your reproductive organs are, for people who aren't anatomically aware, the hips and pelvis. If you're lying in that position for 2 hours, 3 hours, and you do this every day, that's going to really create a misalignment. that's going to be the cause of your discomfort. So it could just be the way you sleep, the way you sit, the way you walk. The way you walk is really important in this. What your feet are doing is really important. So I would say the simple thing is notice what is it that you do. When you do it, you recognize, that was it. So going back to whatever word Thomas was trying to say in English, that is in Deutsch, the trigger. The trigger is in some repetitive movement that you need to become aware of before you go to learn anatomy or go to a specialist. Go, this is what I do. Because any of Thomas or Christiana or I would definitely say, what is it that you do in your day? So if you already do this for yourself, then you're already one step ahead of where you were before you started the question. So that's what I'm going to say. Become aware of what you do with regularity, and then how you do it, and what does it do to you.
Yes.
So, and then we have all the other wonderful things that both Thomas has said, Christiana has said, and we can continue saying. But you can do that for yourself. So, swaha.
I agree. You have lots of possibilities. Once you go into the observation, then you can see like, what is it, what helps me personally? Maybe it's really like going back to the structure. Maybe it's, or even maybe doing everything a little bit, piece by piece to get, and I believe to say that it's very, very, very important to know that it's possible to get rid of back pain even when you're over 50 or 60. So don't hesitate to say to yourself, if you're one person now listening to us or watching this, to say like, okay, yeah, but I have it so long, whatever. No, it's the moment you decide, the moment you take action, the moment you watch it and you do something, you are able to change. So
I agree with that 100%. It's no matter how long you've had it, and it might seem like, oh, it's just something I live with. Don't make that choice. No, nobody should make a choice of I'm just going to live with the pain because that's the way it is. I think there are many options, and I know between the three of us, it would be very few conditions that we could in some way give you relief from. So please, Radha, I'm sorry I jumped in.
That's totally okay. And sometimes we are even too lazy and too much in our movement or daily patterns to take the decision and the energy to alter simple things like standing up instead of sitting. So partly standing, partly sitting while working, or
yes,
taking a pillow beneath the buttocks. Yeah. So sit more up, or trying to not sit at the table, but sit on the ground, only a pillow, and have the knees to the right and to the left, and look, oh my God, yeah, get back to that structure. So bring the pelvis straight up, and so on. And it's a decision. It's a decision to alter things. It's a decision to take a walk and not only walk with legs, but also move the shoulders. It's a decision, because what would people think? So what? I mean, who is in pain? So why not move a little bit and do some stuff and stretch to and alter things? And this can help very quickly. It can help over a week, when if you do a little bit, 5 minutes here, alter one thing there, it can already help you and lessen the back pain. I would like, but I think it's not the right moment here, but I would like to give one thought into this discussion. How about psychological reasons for back pain? And of course, I think it's another discussion, but doesn't sometimes a situation that makes us yeah, cause back pain? And do not we all have experienced something that when a pressure or something was away, off, gone, suddenly no pain at all, and no one could explain? I mean, I had that in my life. I had excruciating shoulder and half back pain, and after separation from a boyfriend, the other day it was gone. And this makes no sense at all, anatomically or movement patterns wise, or maybe yes. So very interesting, I think.
I think that's a great point. That's that hidden something that is going on that you wouldn't be able to point out on a physical level, but it definitely affects the physical body though. Although because you did the action, when you have something that happens in a psychological way, in an emotional way, the body goes into a certain state of something that's affecting the physical body. So it can be gone like that, and it came like that, but it is through the physical body that you experience that. The cause might be an emotion, the cause might be psychological, but you feel it in your physical body. So at some point you have to address it. Either you're aware enough to go, oh, this is the condition on a psychological level, an emotional level, or you could go, well, it's also in my physical body, and I'm going to address it through there. So there's lots of options, but again, it comes down to awareness. So, it's like, what's causing it? What is the thing? And you might not know when you're in it. Like most of us don't know when we're in it till we step out of it, and then we go, oh, right, that was the reason. So
and
some kind of
clinging to our habits. Very interesting indeed.
Indeed, thank you. That's a great point to throw into the mix.
Yeah.
So the good news is, as Christiana said, and I'd like to reiterate that there's a lot of reasons we get into it, and there's a lot of ways to get out of it too. It's like so some of the ways we get into a situation like back pain, chronic back pain, is something that is a repetitive thing, or something that happens in a moment, but there's also lots of ways out. So become aware and make a choice. As Thomas said in the beginning, do you want to do something about it? It takes some effort.
Also, let's also say it very clear, we are talking about middle-aged people, relatively healthy, not the very old one. And so it is really from a perspective of, okay, there's something possible. Right?
I don't think really old people can't get the benefit of this. I mean, I think really inactive people, really old people, I think everybody can get the benefit of almost everything all of us have said here. So I wouldn't like to keep it to that very limited audience, because we happen to be in that place. But man, I know I've worked with a lot of people who are quite old and inactive that have gotten the benefit of just many of the things that each of us have said here. So
okay, what I mean is, I'm talking about a specific degree of damage. So when they are taking the decision for surgery and not for the movement debate what we have. So, and it is maybe also not so binded at age. It's also possible with younger guys, but you shouldn't have a completely destroyed spine, what I mean. So
okay, you're saying if it's completely deteriorated, we can't help you.
I would like to conclude this, I think the very simple point is coming from a space of not doing and not knowing, and awakening your awareness for doing something, like taking the decision, and maybe even in a very bad state, it still could give you a change. But the main thing is changing, going into action, doing any kind of being not attentive to being attentive, or to develop a structure of observation, and then eventually take action. So maybe to conclude the discussion.
I agree with that. I think it's important at any stage, no matter what the condition is, that yes, awareness is going to make a difference. I'll stick with that too.
Yes, my dears, I think this was again very lively and very interesting, all those points. And I think we are not done with that topic, definitely, and we'll continue. We will see with what. Please put your questions beneath, down in the commentaries. Give us your thoughts, what you would like to us to speak about, or if you have more questions, because I think, I mean, I'm going out of this with a huge amount of questions and a huge thoughts how to address and how to discuss again. So I hope you are also having some questions and want us to discuss or even explore more some direction. And yeah, thank you everybody for sharing your knowledge, your ideas, your creativity, and your overseas buzz, Michael.
I just want to say thank you guys for joining, and really, if anybody's watching or listening, your inclusion makes this worthwhile for us. If you really want to, if you want to hear something that maybe we can help you out with, please tell us.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Dema.
Dema.